Hello, dear friends. In this episode, I will bring to you some prophecies onto which I stumbled upon recently, although they are not new. And also, we will cover the current situation and some viewer questions at the end. Neophytus of Morpho is the bishop of the island of Cyprus, and also he is a true Christian. He speaks the truth about the ongoing marking with the beastly mark. And he was a personal associate. He heard the prophecies from Mount Athos in person from the saints themselves. He also mentioned some saints who live completely outside of our civilization. Nobody except a couple of monks who are in touch with them knows about their existence at all. I think these are the same saints which Otrok Vyacheslav described at Mount Athos. So he has been also studying these prophecies for quite some time now. He was told by the saints that he has to study them but speak about them only after he is of the age of 50. As far as the destiny of America, the monks of Athos saw that first it will be hit by biological weapons, after that it will be hit by geological weapons, and only after that the conventional warfare will start. And after the big war, events will start unfolding in the world, and the people will think that this is actually the second coming of Christ, but it will not be. And a few more precision details, so to say, about the very beginning of the Third World War. This will make sense only for those who have watched the previous couple of videos. So, things will start escalating rapidly when the Western forces somehow, with coup or some other means, put Turkish government which is in favor of the West. They will bring down Erdogan, the current Turkish Prime Minister, and they will claim that they will repair the mistakes done by him. But in reality, they will be amateur politicians. They will be simply puppets. They will not understand what kind of nonsense they are doing. And they will close the Bosphorus, in response to which the Russia will bomb all Turkish cities within 10 days and will basically obliterate them. That's how these amateur politicians will become the reason for the death of their country. The source for these prophecies, the Neophytus of Morphos, mentioned saints which I also mentioned in the previous episodes, like Paisis Svetogorets, but also a new name which I heard in this interview was that of the Saint Ioan Calaidis. Around that time, Israel will bomb the nuclear facilities of Iran, and also in that region around Cyprus or the Middle East there will be massive. This time it is definitely the mark of the beast. They have just announced the physical aspect of their one world passport, and this is how their card looks like. Gray in color. I would like to remind you something which came up in the previous episodes with the prophecies of Otrok Vyacheslav. And these are the exact words of his mother. They were recorded some at least 25 years ago, and the prophecies were made much earlier than that even. So what she said was, eventually they will come up with the idea of one world passport, and that will come in the form of a small, grey, elegant card. End of quote. You can find the links to the original recordings, which are decades old, in the descriptions of the episodes devoted to the prophecies of Otrok Vyacheslav. Furthermore, Vyacheslav warned us that the machines for marking people will come in great variety of disguises. Some will be in the shop, others will be advertised as medical equipment, and many others, he said. And indeed, in their recent public presentation, the World Gang Devils are bragging how efficient are they in delivering their new orbs everywhere. And they said that now they are installing them in shops. They have managed to already mark 15 million people, and the numbers are rapidly growing. And they want to make it so convenient for the people that they're teaming up with the biggest delivery companies in the world, so that if you're shy to go to their temple, the courier will bring the orb to you for a kiss. And they're also bragging that they're integrating the technology already within the ID issuing systems of the following countries, which in simple words means that when you get your new ID, you will be automatically marked, and it may not be even made clear to you, because you would be just going for a national ID and not really the orb. And they're hiding their real colors less and less. In their presentation, they're openly telling our premises, the orb sanctuaries, are a temple. And it was not said allegorically, but rather as an official announcement. And sure enough, they continue forcing the people into the biometric trap with the help of many other projects. I just heard the testimony of one religious lady who was traveling by train from Kazakhstan to Russia. At the border, they were stopped, and officials with high-tech devices were scanning everybody's face. And when they reached this lady, she actually asked them, "Is this biometry?" And they were staring at her for a long time. They were shocked by her question, and eventually they replied, "Yes, of course." She politely told them that she doesn't agree to that. She does not approve taking her biometric data, and that caused havoc, confusion, because they never had such cases. They were not expecting anything like that. They didn't even know what to do. And the full thing took hours. Eventually they handed her over to the border police, where she was interrogated in an unpleasant manner, and even including questions like how many like you are out there, please supply their names and addresses. And eventually they let her go in the winter, in the night, in the dark, in the fields near the border. Recently I received a phone call from a bank with which I had an account previously. It was just telemarketing, some lady trying to convince me to open a new account, and I told her no thank you, but you know how persistent they are. And she was very persistently asking why I don't want a new one, and I said, well, in general the banks, they try to introduce biometry nowadays, and I try to avoid banks. And she said, oh, don't worry, you don't need to give any biometric data, it is already there. I said, what? And she explained that since previously you were our client, it means that most likely you're in the Eurotrust database anyway already. I said, yes, but previously when I was banking with you, I always asked, and there was never any biometry involved, and I did not give any data. And then she explained that, okay, maybe you did not give, but the way Eurotrust works is first they put you, somehow they find your data, they put you in the database, and later on, when you try to access some service, you will have to submit as part of the application or whatever your biometric data if you wish to continue. After the phone conversation, I researched what is this Eurotrust, and much to my horror I found out that this is the local branch of the European digital ID scam. And then it was weeks to get response from them, and well, I don't really have a biometric profile with them, but in overall, I doubt I will be opening any new banking accounts from now on, even when biometry is not involved. Because they are integrating the devilish modules in everything seamlessly. That's the way they operate. A very recent example, 2 or 3 days ago I was just browsing something on the internet and I clicked on some link which forwarded me to Facebook, and immediately the window blinked and said, please take a selfie all around you to prove that it is you, otherwise we have noticed suspicious activity. Of course, I just closed that window, and that was the end of the browser. After that I was completely, the browser stopped working. Any page I would open, it would open for a fraction of a second, and after that a red message would come, something went wrong. Basically I got banned from browsing just because I shut up the window which was asking me to take selfie all around me to prove it's me. Well, this time I just started using another browser, but the next time that may not be possible. Finally, some good news as well, hopefully. Hopefully, because I still cannot confirm how genuine is the entire story. And actually, I will ask if there are any viewers in Russia to leave a comment below with their experience. If Alexander Pramonov announced that he has launched a banking module which is currently available only to Russian citizens, and everybody is entitled to receive funds under the single condition that the person vows to follow the path of goodness, and he will not participate in any demonic, evil, destructive activities. Eventually, that will be launched in many other and possibly all lands. Probably some areas in Asia and Africa will follow Russia, and after that the Slavic world. Paramonov does not force, does not use any biometry, and does not hand out any new passports or other IDs. This is the web page of the service. As far as I understand, everything is completely free. So if somebody from Russia gives it a try, please tell us how did it go. And their new country target for destabilization is now Romania, using the same tactic they used in Afghanistan for the Arab Spring in the Caucasus region. They simply cancelled the election results in Romania because the elected person was not their man, and they're openly telling that they will not hesitate to do the same in Germany if they don't like the outcome of the voting there as well. Let's see the fate of another country in which they staged coup some years ago. How is it faring now? Ukraine. Their men, when they send them to the front line for slaughter, and after that they return them in the families, packed in bags for burial, but not all, because those who are just wounded, they're just sold in parts. And the government has officially signed a contract to sell them in parts for very good money, and to the relatives they just write a note that he just disappeared. during a military operation. There are still some men in Ukraine who have not been sent to the slaughter yet. Mostly these were men who were able to buy themselves off with bribes from the hunters who just hunt men on the street to send them to the front line. By the way, these recruitment officers hit the jackpot in their sick minds. That's how they perceive it. Because the ransoms which they extract from the people are enormous, and there is lots of population in Ukraine, so they got so filthy rich. They are buying like gold and diamonds and anything expensive they can get hold of. And initially they were just asking for money straight away and like that, but then they got smarter, or at least they think so. They created a database and they started keeping track and they have fixed fees. So for their lives, men in Ukraine who are still alive, they have to pay, I don't know, weekly or monthly, many thousands. And even for rich men, I mean, the money finishes when they ask $20,000 from you every month. So even the people who were well off started running out of money. And there are, of course, also people who never had enough money for the ransoms, like students, pensioners. So what they're doing, they have already formed guerrilla groups. So there is already a strong partisan movement in Ukraine. And as far as Russia, although currently is better than Ukraine, probably this will not last long, because it's the same immigration plan as in US and Europe. They have selectively imported millions of men in fighting age with criminal tendencies. They are already well organized and equipped well with weapons, and they don't even hide their intentions. Some of them are telling the locals, the plan is, we're gonna cut off your heads at night when you sleep, and in the morning your wives will be our wives. And these people are an army of millions. Yes. Putin imports them. It is a steady flow, and the current of the millions flowing in is growing exponentially. Of course, the official reason is always the same, because we all love each other, isn't it? Currently in Russia they have imported about 40 millions, more or less, same as America. So while Alex Jones, the official spokesman of the Beast, is assuring the crowds that the tribulation has already ended, the golden age to begin shortly, then that's a double speak for the Trump's 15-minute cities. So while the crowds are distracted by that talk, they are sprayed with sickness mist full of parasites, breeding parasites inside. In Russia, they sprayed it onto the people even with cisterns, just big trucks with containers for liquid, spraying people with death. In America, the shameless devils burned in broad daylight the homes of thousands and thousands of people. Minutes before, hours before they burned Hollywood, for example, there was the Golden Globe Award, and during the ceremony, the host openly ridiculed God the Creator, and the audience cheered. And they're grooming the people more and more actively for the biggest scam of all times, the scam of the Dajjal. The Sanhedrin court sent a love note to Trump. You have been elected to fulfill a heavenly mission. It means hellish mission, because the Sanhedrin court, it's a very recently revived tribunal, the modern version of the biblical Sanhedrin court, and that happens to be precisely the court, the judges who sentenced Christ in biblical times. So when they consider something heavenly for a normal person, that means hell. So did you see the idol, the goat of their heavenly elected? Their heavenly elected worships a goat, like a big statue, all covered with banknotes, which instead of in God we trust, it is written in Trump we trust. And yeah, goats, donkeys, they have been used for a long time in the temples of the devil as idols. And yet another very fishy goat project. See all their idols here. And unfortunately, this is an international organization which is supposedly connected to ending child trafficking. They're making their prophecy on their website. It is just a question of time, they say, before human trafficking and child trafficking in particular becomes the leading contributor to criminal activity. They say that they are working against it, but unfortunately, as we know, all these child predators, they operate under the disguises of humane agencies, because there is a lot of demand for their business. I was quite shocked in an interview of an ex-CIA agent, a person who is really very much into this. He made an estimate that was it 8 million children might have been consumed by that industry. I was shocked by the number. But he explained that actually even a single Satanist, he would finish off many, many children, because they need them on a regular basis for blood drinking and for their regular sacrifices. And they also need them for daily fun, as they say. And the poor children, they die quite fast once they get in the claws of these animals. And unfortunately, this organization in particular seems to be very fishy because of the gold idols, and also their logo has a heart which is turned upwards, and that's one of the way they make their logos. Like, for example, the body of the heavenly elected Trump, and this is how he dresses up. He's got, of course, the devil depiction on his chest with a cross which is turned upside down, the same as the goat heart. I saw a recording of the nanny of this chap telling a story that when he was small he did something horrible, and then his mother said, "My son is not exactly the Antichrist, but he will be putting his mark on the people." So how did the human race sink so low to allow international organizations to kidnap kids by thousands, possibly by millions, for their blood, for raping? Actually, even many of my listeners who find this absolutely disgusting and against their nature are indirectly helping for such horrors to manifest on earth, by doing simple things like regularly drinking alcohol and swearing. Using dirty language is also called cursing. And swearing itself also, I mean, swear, this is like cursing, the dark way to use swearing, because there is also swearing in a good sense. I swear to be a good person. So every time somebody uses dirty language, he puts a curse on his own self, those who listen to him, and the entire environment of the situation where this is resounding. With every single spoken curse, hell comes 1 millimeter nearer to earth. Many people are shocked. How can these devils do such things? Poison us, infect us with viruses, kidnap and torture our children, burn our homes. And yet, the very same people who complain about all this are supporting it and are causing it by drinking alcohol. So much has been said, there is so much material available on how alcohol, every single drop, opens little by little, 1 millimeter at a time, the gate to hell. And now, when the gate is wide open and the Djal comes to claim his property, the people are calling for help, but nobody answers from the skies. Actually, the skies tried to help that person years ago when somebody approached them and explained why alcohol is such a demonic substance and what to do. Quit immediately. At that time, they disregarded, they didn't even listen. They said, oh, but I'm drinking just in moderation culturally, like very, very little, just negligible, really. Yeah, really. So the devils will be also raping you moderately, every day, a little bit, not much. The prophecies warned us that the Antichrist will do anything to win the trust of the people, including prosecuting and killing his own people, to show that, you see, I'm against those bad chaps. And currently, his people are playing the Trump card in a very similar way. Many Americans got defrauded that, you see, he is going after deep state, so he must be good if he's prosecuting the bad guys. Certainly, he can disband a couple of infrastructure units of the evil empire, which they don't need anymore, or they will reappear in some other organization under a different name. He may even prosecute a couple of bad guys. This will make him very popular. From his personal perspective, this will be just removing competition from other branches of the mafia, not his own branch. And from the point of view of the big boss, the devil, well, he's gonna devour and torture anybody who comes near him. Friend or enemy, it doesn't matter. Anybody who deals with him directly will have the same fate. So it's not that he will be taking care of his own people always. Definitely not. Actually, from the prophecies, we know that he will be turning against them exactly to gain popularity as the Antichrist. Now, Trump may bring justice to the Federal Reserve. This will make him immensely popular. He may even establish, to some extent or completely, the new blockchain financial system, which will be very secure and very fair. And because for too many people money is too important, they will just adore Trump and the Antichrist. So, it is said in the prophecies that even many good people will fall in the trap and accept the mark of the beast. And unfortunately, we see that happening way too often. Many modern gurus mislead the people in this way. They say, Don't you worry, don't stress yourself. Choose whatever is convenient in your situation when it comes to the marking, because ultimately, whatever you do in this perishable body will not affect your eternal soul anyway. In other words, they're telling them, take the mark, even though you know it's wrong. There will be no consequences. Although that is an absolutely shameless lie. The people fall for it because, indeed, if you join the devilish orgy, that will not affect the status of the energy of which your soul is made. That spark of God will always remain pure, but in terms of where you will end up and where you will live in this life and in the spirit life after that, of course, that will depend on the decisions you make in your earthly life. So those who take the mark of the beast, still their soul will remain divine, but their existence will be full of agony. The mark of the beast will not affect the divine spark, which is the underlying energy and principle of all existence. But in case you decide to give your most precious energy to the demonic project of the Antichrist, if you decide to use in such a way the most precious thing which is given to you by God, or more exactly, the most precious thing which you are in essence, then you will be also sharing the misery, the agony of the dark side. You will never be happy if you join the dark side. That is out of question. This is not only the verdict of all true religions, but also it is confirmed by the experiences of those who had near-death experience. Now you're still on the earthly plane, and no matter how bad is your karma in this life, still it is some sort of earthly karma. It means you're born in a species which is not of the lowest kind out of those which exist in the universe. So since a lot, or at least the main things of your path are predetermined, even if you do wrong, still you will be supported by the previous good deeds which you must have had to become eligible to get born here to start with. But once that protection ends and you die, most of us can't even properly imagine how much worse things can get. The collective well-being narrative has ensured a rich harvest of souls for the devils. It comes in various forms. The most shallow one about the climate that you see, you need to restrict yourself and suffer a little bit for the sake of the well-being of the generations and the future of the planet and the future of your children. It didn't work that well. The people bought it, but they were not deeply worried about the situation. But when it came to health, the people bought into this ridiculous double-speak eagerly. Many of them got fixed, although they were aware it's not good for them, but they did it for the sake of others. Now, this same deceptive philosophy comes in spiritual disguise as well, and it became very popular and deceived millions. It goes like this. A collective spiritual awakening is upon us, which by itself it's true. Actually, in that narrative, almost everything they say is absolutely true, and it's a very skillful way of deception by telling lots of truths while omitting key points in the narrative in such a way that at the end, due to the very partial presentation of the matter, the unsuspecting victim makes a conclusion exactly opposite to the truth. In their narrative, they will focus on the desirable things of the New Age, the beautiful, relatively easy life in pristine, amazing, crystal clear natural conditions. And at the same time, they will always forget to mention that those who take their offer of the One World passport with the gray card, they will have no entry there at all. By bringing only the collective consciousness to the spotlight, they distract people from what is most important for them, that is working on their personal consciousness. This type of collective gurus, they talk very carefully and selectively when it comes to the personal spiritual development. Mostly it will be just an endless talk about the collective, and when it comes to the personal, yes, there will be few things, but they will never speak the truth about what alcohol does to their followers, how important it is to never carry a cell phone on your body. You will never hear them explain what does all this swearing do to the soul. I mean, so many people, they just spew and spit toilet and sexual perversion after every word. Such people can't wait to get to hell, because that's where their heart belongs. Everything there is with a dirty toilet, with perversion at every step. Another problem with stressing too much on the collective awakening is that it creates the impression that this is what awakening is all about. And then in a couple of short years, when hell openly and officially establishes itself on earth, and people start swearing in open to in loyalty to the Djal, many good people will be misled by this collective talk, because obviously at that point the collective awakening will be a lost cause, impossible. So at that point, some of those who still have some sense left to understand that this is the Antichrist, that this is the Djal, this is bad, even they will give up, they will surrender to him, even though they understand it is wrong, just because, you see, everything is lost and the collective awakening seems to be cancelled. And yet another philosophical problem which goes hand in hand with the big collective talk is that, first of all, they convince the people that true spirituality is collective awakening. Then they put an equation mark. Collective awakening means saving the planet. That's where things start going wrong seriously. And then it is very easy with word jugglery to convince the audience that saving the planet means saving the current civilization. And that's how people who had interest in the spiritual, at the end, they're made to believe that being spiritual is simply trying to keep their status quo. And it is usually impossible to talk out even intelligent people out of this dead end, because one misconception is tied to many others, and in this case it ties to the so-called law of attraction and the deceitful demonization of karma, which has been heavily sponsored during the last few decades. I have published a lot on this channel previously about this problem. And one thing leading to another, this is how we got to this situation where otherwise good-hearted, intelligent and educated people are filling out applications for a place in hell. They're taking the mark of the beast and even taking their babies and children to get the stamp at the lasers of the servants of the devil. People of weak spirit will gravitate towards the gurus of the collective ascension because it will resonate with them. You see, I can continue drinking, swearing, I don't need to do any rigid or any particular spiritual practice and still consider myself spiritual. A viewer sent me the following questions. Why are the parasites, the satanists, delaying their plans? Why are they late? You see, nowadays these devils don't even hide their plans. They are not afraid to share them with the public in detail. They are also published in writing in various UN and the World Health Organization documents. So the end purpose of their devious plan is to take over Earth. That is clear. That is fixed. Now, how exactly and when exactly, they make it clear that their plans are flexible depending on how the residents of the Earth react to their scams. They have a plan A, but if it doesn't go smooth, they also have plan B and plan C. Like, for example, with the pandemic treaty, it didn't go well for them. That's why, in the case of pandemic, they will go to plan B and use the same mechanisms which they used during the previous scamdemic, or make some other alternative arrangement. So, from the statements of the devils themselves, they are planning to tighten the loop around the neck of the good people even more all of a sudden this year 2025, and by 2030 they are planning to have us completely enslaved. So you're asking about a delay, but I'm not sure which delay do you mean exactly. Let's wait and see. Are they really gonna do something big this year or not? Obviously, they are not going to give up. Things are definitely going in their favor. Most of the people believe them enough for the purpose they need. So they're definitely not gonna cancel the project. But if nothing big happens this year, yes, then we may talk about a delay. And I would expect something like this because doesn't look like the situation is ripe enough for the Third World War. Too many things from the prophecies have not come true, so they may delay indeed with a couple of years, and that message which came probably from Slava Sevrukova that things will be delayed with 2-3 years, it may turn out to be exactly the case. So to answer your question exactly, I don't see any delay until now. But if there is any possible delay, it's just the nature of things. 2-3 years, I mean, it is actually a very small period compared to the duration of the entire project. I would say it's a negligibly small delay. However, the type of people who talk very much about disruption in their plans, these are the Alex Jones type people. And I think by now it should be clear for everybody for whom is he actually working, not the side of the light. To be honest, the only use of their talk, this type of talk, is to waste the time of the people, to keep them longer in front of the computer, to irradiate them, to convince them that Trump is the savior. And then when the next fixation campaign starts, people will take the Trump fix because you see, he's a good guy. Huh? He's against harmful medication, so his fix will be, of course, good for us. And then the people will also take the digital ID. People will take it eagerly because Trump will tell them, you see, when you scan your ID, we will know that you are not an alien, and in this way, the goodies in America will be distributed only for the Americans. So, in overall, the prophecies are materializing in front of our eyes with great accuracy, and that is very reassuring for us, for those who do not plan to take the mark of the beast. We should not fear the approaching calamities. The divine will shelter us during the storm. Currently, it is good to concentrate on quitting alcohol, swearing, and giving our energy to constantly blame others and find faults in them. And also, we should start actively avoiding now everything from the supermarket. They are finding now these metal powders in so many things, not just alcohol and chocolates. I have personally shrunk a lot to the choices in my menu to minimize my exposure to the shop poisons. And at the end, I would like to share a phrase from a blogger who was showing the aftermath of the toxic fog. And he said something very nice at the end. The fog reminds to the people about the prophecies of the apocalypse. But maybe there will be no such apocalyptic arrangement from heaven needed, because people will manage to kill each other by themselves.